Hello everybody, welcome to CS 219, Programming Fundamentals. I'm Corey Willinger and I'm going to be your instructor for the next 8 weeks. And over that time, we are going to continue on from what we learned in CS 151, our introduction to programming, and we're going to expand on those skills that you've learned and kind of learn some more nuanced programming concepts. We're going to work with arrays, we're going to work with input validation and testing and error handling, and get into more a little bit of the software engineering side of things, talking about object-oriented programming concepts like composition, inheritance, things like that. So it's, to me, I enjoy this class much more than the first one, but you really got to apply what you learned in the first semester in this semester. So without further ado, I'm going to get started with an introduction of myself. So if you had me for CS 151, feel free to go ahead and skip the introduction. If you haven't had me yet, well, I'm Corey Willinger. I've got 20 years in active duty Air Force. I've got an enlisted background. I did avionics for 11 years. And you can see me right here from when I was in Korea. There we go. And I really enjoyed that, but I went to school, got my bachelor's degree in computer science from Park University, and then I became a cyber operations officer. During that time, I got selected to go to the Air Force Institute of Technology and got my graduate degree in software engineering. And that's where I currently teach. I teach software engineering and cybersecurity for weapon systems. So that's my background. I've got 3 boys, Ethan, Luke, and Logan. So there's Ethan, there's Luke, and there's Logan. And they keep me pretty busy. You can see me right here. This is Ethan when he was little and I was working on my undergraduate degree. So I understand where you're at and trying to work and go to school and do all that stuff at the same time. So I tend to be pretty lenient in those things as long as you communicate with me about what's going on. So I enjoy biking and flying my drone and just pretty much all things geek. So if you have any of those things in common, feel free to talk to me. If you don't, well, feel free to talk to me anyway. When we actually meet in class, I'd like you to present a little bit of information about you just so I can understand your background and so your classmates can understand you as well. If we don't have class, if class is canceled for whatever reason, then we'll go ahead and do this as a forum post. But I'd just like to give you a heads up as to what is going to be expected. So, this isn't like have a 3 to 5 minute essay on blah, blah, blah. No, just quick introductions, and this is what I'm going to have you tell me about yourself. So let's go over some of the administrative stuff. All of this is on Canvas. I like to use Canvas because it helps me stay on track and helps students stay on track and all of that. And so all the videos that I create are going to be on Canvas. All of your requirements are going to be on Canvas, quizzes, so on and so forth. So when in doubt, go to Canvas. If not, you can always text me or email me or whatever. I'm open as long as it's not 3 a.m. Feel free to contact me. When we're in class, we will not go all 5 hours, okay? Some days we might go long, depending on the amount of extra work that you guys need. If you're missing a concept, something like that, we could go long, but hopefully with these flipped classrooms, we shouldn't go any more than 2 or 3 hours, actually. So, but with that being said, the expectation is that you're actually watching the video, so I'll get to that in a minute. There are 2 sets of videos. There are ones that I recorded, and there are ones that were originally recorded back in 2012 by instructor Dr. Ken Dewey. Those videos, and I've kind of hidden them, under in the file structure, but they're there. You can access them, and if this link doesn't work, you can get to them through the Canvas file structure. But they're basically him recording his audio of him going through the slides in class. So they're good because there's some student questions that might be useful. They're bad because they're 2 hours of a wall of text slides, and that's not fun for anybody. So I try to cut them down a little bit and try to make them more relevant and pertinent so you can get on and get on with your life. The slides that originally developed closely follow the book. In fact, like sections of them are just cut and paste from the book to the PowerPoint. So if you need this as an extra resource, feel free and watch them. There's going to be a lot of similarities between my slides and those video presentations, but I try to cut out a lot of stuff that's not necessary. So it's there as a resource. Finally, I truly encourage feedback. The sooner the better, because I really like if I'm doing something that's not beneficial to you or is hindering your learning in some way, please let me know so I can fix that. Or if there's something that I can do to help you learn better, let me know so I can fix that. The earlier you give me the feedback, the easier it is. When we are in class, only use the west entrance of the building. So if I was sitting in class right now, I would point towards the back of the room, which is the west side. But it's the side that points down the hill. Okay, if you're directionally challenged, it's the side of the building that points down the hill. So yeah, don't go out the front doors because a lot of times those don't shut properly. Don't install anything on the computers. Okay, this room that we're going to be using, which is the computer lab, is also used for testing, and so there's strict standards on what can be installed and what cannot be installed. So please use a USB drive to store your files as we're working. And again, no, really, don't install anything on the lab computers, okay? The campus director will come and yell at me, and that's a bad day, and then I get grumpy, and it's just like my kids, right? And if dad's grumpy when he gets home from work and they're being bad, then it's just all downhill from there. So again, just please don't install anything on the computers. Okay, so my expectations for you, if you can't make it to class, please try to let me know ahead of time. It's not necessarily required, but if you pre-coordinate with me, I can mark you as an excused absence rather than it being an actual absence, because we actually care about your attendance in class. I'm not just here to take your money. I actually want to teach you. So please, let me know so we can work with your absences if you know about them in advance. Be prepared for class and participate in class, and it's part of your grade. It's 5%. Not only that, but if your grade is on the borderline, I don't have to round up, but if you're active in class and participating and being a benefit to the class, then there's definitely a fudge factor there that goes in your favor. If you show up to class, do the bare minimum, and don't participate and just kind of all around bump on a log, well, then what can I say? I'll have no incentive to act favorably upon any borderline grade. So just throwing that out there. Watch the videos, do the readings and exercises. I stress this a lot. You're really only going to learn by actually coding, right? There's some obviously knowledge level stuff that you have to learn, terms and things like that. You can't code those, so you got to read them and memorize them and do whatever you do. But actually do the exercises, and there's a lot of exercises in the back of the book. If you're struggling, then try to do the exercises and then ask for help when you can't get through them. That will really help you. Post questions in the forums if you need to, and then there's tons of resources online on Canvas and just on the internet in general. There's no reason for you just to wallow in darkness and be like, I have no idea what's going on. I've been teaching at Park for about 1.5 years now, and I am still amazed at the number of people that won't ask for help when they're struggling. I try to identify it and be proactive, but there's in this class 11 of you and 1 of me. So, if you're struggling, ask for help, but research the problems on your own first. Struggling with a problem is a great way to help cement it in your brain when you finally do figure it out. Okay, so don't just hit a roadblock and then 30 seconds later pick up the phone saying, Mr. Willinger, how do I do this? Because I'm going to ask you, what 3 places did you look for help? And if you can't answer that, then I'm not going to help you. You really need to research and do it on your own. And that's not because I'm being lazy. That's just because I know through experience it's going to help you learn and help you retain the material. And that's what I'm really striving for. So, I'm absolutely 100% willing to help and will help you. But with that being said, you need to work through some of the material on your own as well. With that being said, don't wait until the last minute for help. And like I said before, I definitely am here to help. So if you call me the night homework is due saying, I don't understand any of this, I would be like, well, you're probably not going to pick it up in the next hour. I highly recommend you start the homework as early in the week as you can. You can watch the videos well in advance. You have plenty of time to get to the homework. I've tried to make all of the week's lessons open up a couple weeks before they actually start, so that way if you want to get ahead, you can. Then it also enables you to look ahead at the homework and say, okay, what is expected of me? And then you can kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you're going through the lesson. So start on your work early, even if it's just, commenting your code and putting in what you think needs to happen. And we'll get into all that throughout the course of the lesson, so don't worry about that. But start on your homework as early as you can. Don't wait till the last minute, because, again, if you wait until 11 o'clock on a Sunday night, I'm probably not going to help you as much as if you call me, say, on a Tuesday, right? Plenty of time in advance. So, okay, I think I foot stomped that enough. When we're in class, you're all adults. Keep distractions to a minimum. So, you've got a whole litany of things that can distract you. I understand you're all adults. You've got families, you've got text messages. I don't really care. Try to keep your phones on quiet or vibrate or whatever. But just be respectful of your other students, because you're not the only one in the class that's there to learn. You've got 10 other people that are there with you. So be a good fellow student. So the class format. So if you haven't figured it out already, we're going to be doing this as a flipped classroom. So what exactly does that mean to you? So each week, there's going to be several videos posted as lectures that you are going to watch in lieu of me standing up in front of you lecturing ad nauseum in class. I do like teaching. I enjoy lecturing, so that's not because I don't like doing that, but it's to give you more time to actually work on exercises in class. So with that being said, it is expected that you watch the video before class, with the exception of week 1, obviously, because we didn't have class, and if we did, it would be actually in class and there was no video. So please watch the videos before class. Okay. It is expected that you actually read the book before class, and the videos will very closely follow the book. In fact, they probably use some of the same examples and so on and so forth. But going through things a second time might help you understand it, and it'll definitely help you retain it. So I recommend read the book, then watch the videos, okay? Or watch the videos and read the book. I don't really care which way, whatever way works for you. But none of the videos are really that long, and there's usually each chapter has a couple different videos, so you can break them down into 20, 30-minute segments. Just watch a portion of it, when you can. It is expected that you write down your questions that you have, and you can bring them to class. So if you're watching the videos and I say something and it's just like not making any sense, and you're like, I have no idea what this guy is talking about, he's a complete idiot, bring those questions to class and we will talk about them. Or you could even post them on the Canvas forums, and maybe your fellow students will answer them, or I'll answer them if nobody else gets to them. So you've got a lot of different options there, but the whole point is to watch the videos and then come to class with those questions. We'll go over key topics and then do a couple other things like review your questions. We'll do a couple exercises to reinforce the material that was presented. I also do an interactive quiz that past classes have seemed to really enjoy. It can be competitive. You can get on teams and kind of, I don't know, it's fun. And then the rest of the time is going to be spent giving you time to actually work on your homework in class. So that way, if you have questions and you don't understand something, you can get that help then and there. Again, that's classes on a Monday, and your homework's not due until the following Sunday. You can, at that point, you can pack your bags and go home if you want, but then you're also missing out on an opportunity to get that help and get your homework knocked out. So that's a class format. This is the first time that I'm trying it for the whole semester. I was teaching one of the C++ classes, and I kind of switched to this about halfway through, and the students really seem to enjoy it. So I'm trying it for the whole semester this time around, and if y'all like it, then hopefully I'll do it again for the next class. If you don't like it, then let me know, and we'll change it. So this is the textbook we'll be using. It's the same textbook that we had in CS 151. If you didn't get the textbook for CS 151, same rules apply. Is you don't have to have it for the class. I'm not going to fail you if you don't have the class, but we will be working on some exercises out of the book. It's not a bad idea to have your first programming book, to have an actual physical copy of it. So as you're learning stuff, you can go back and reference it. But there are tons of resources online. So again, if you don't have the book, you don't absolutely have to require, but I do highly encourage you to have the book. It'll just help you out and be a good resource for you as you're working through the class. So here's our schedule for the next 8 weeks. We're going to be covering chapters 9 through 18 in the book, skipping 11 and 16. We're going to touch on chapter 11 a little bit throughout the schedule, but this is what we're looking at. Now, this semester is going to be a little bit more rigorous or intense than last semester. We have a lot of ground to cover, and the subject matter can be not quite as cut and dry as the first semester, so be prepared to put in a little bit more hours as far as reading and doing exercises and trying to understand the concepts, and your homework is going to take quite a bit longer as well. Not ridiculous amounts, but it is going to take quite a bit of hours, especially if you're having trouble with some of the core concepts. Maybe you didn't quite get them that well during the first semester. So just be prepared for that you're going to have to invest more time this semester than you did last semester.